The business news of the nation, region, and the greater Des Moines Metro made possible through the support of Creamer Law Firm. Business law and estate planning, visit creamerlaw.com. And AARP of Iowa, real possibilities for our community and our citizens, no matter the age, AARP.org.
Welcome back to the Business News Hour. You know, there are some people in the world that you're always just happy to see. And, and this is one of these guys. His name is Ben McDougall. Ben and I go back a long way and doing all kinds of things. And I haven't seen you in months and months. How in the heck have you been?
It's always a little too long, but it doesn't take long to catch back up. I appreciate the fun intro.
Well, no, this is really important because you are one of these serial entrepreneurs that I've met over the years.
Oh, thanks, man.
Here in Des Moines, and you're still at it. You were one of the first people I ever met that really took this gaming thing seriously.
Have you heard of eSports? There's a little money involved these days.
I guess there is.
We've been in it for 10 years. So it's been a fun way of really turning a passion from an idea into reality.
And tell them what eSports is.
Electronic sports or video gaming. Competitive video gaming can be thought of on a very large scale, which you see in the news. But there's also ways of using video games to connect anyone. So whether that's a corporate booth at a conference or maybe it's at a college doing a Madden tournament. Our next event's in West Virginia, and I just left talking about doing a little golf event at a simulator here in Ankeny, which is
crazy.
Why not? You know,
yeah. You know, something I saw last week for the first time I did not know existed. I should have figured that it was going to be here, but it's drone racing in arenas.
Sure.
In blacklight and all that.
I don't need another hobby to build it. Yeah. I like racing, drones, technology, and electronics. So theoretically, yes, I need a new hobby, and that should be it. However, I'm actually more into craft beer and kind of building the future of smart flights with Flightbright.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to talk about. Also, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we can't let this go by. He is still with Drake Homes. You do a lot of work for them.
Oh, yeah.
I
love that team on the home building side. I don't really touch a hammer like I mentioned last time when we were here. I still continue to just represent the company, whether it's web, photos, video, social, traditional, or anything in between. Yeah. But working with that team has given me the flexibility to continue working with 1 Million Cups.
Well, exactly. That's the Wednesday thing you did yesterday.
Too.
And you were constantly on the go. Man.
Every Wednesday. 1 Million Cups is down at the Science Center from 8 to 9:30. Free parking, free coffee, and free innovative energy for entrepreneurs who care what they're building.
Yeah, and that's something that's also grown by leaps and bounds.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's a great energy that is what I think has fueled some of the passion or persistence that it requires to build something big. And Flightbright's a good example of that. Like
Let's
fueling yourself from a community. And you know, something that most people don't know is I met both of my co-founders through the 1 Million Cups experience. Mm-hmm. And so whether that's Ben Sinclair on like the technology side or Ethan Davidson, who used to be a 1MC organizer and now is over at Baratech in Cedar Rapids. So the way our team has built this over the last few years is definitely, I think, what I'm most excited and just thankful for. But what the result was like a miracle.
So let's try to explain this. Now, for those of you who are maybe going to craft brew pubs and those kinds of things, we got the camera going? You got the camera going?
You know I'll make this look good.
I know you will. Yeah, it's always something with you. Got the GoPro sitting here, ladies and gentlemen. He's ready to rock. So one of the things that you've done is you have taken that tasting experience that's at brew pubs, digitized it in a way so that you can remember what the heck you like, what you don't like, and then go ahead and rate it at the same time that you're in the establishment. Is that about right?
I'm going to hire you, man.
Hey, you know, that's my
I just
job.
need a paragraph from you.
You got it right
Honestly, a lot of people have had samples of beer and the commonly known as beer flights. And when you get that flight of beer, you forget which one is which. And so that's such a missed opportunity, not only for the consumer, but also for the breweries, restaurants, and bars that are wanting more connectivity with customers. And so really that was the problem we set out to solve. And what we brought to life was an actual paddle. You'll have to maybe post a photo because talking about this doesn't do it justice. However, within the paddle is a color touchscreen that connects to your Wi-Fi, and you can showcase the name of the beers, the styles, and allow customers to click on each one to get all the information, share it throughout social media, and even rate it right there in the establishment.
Now, this is showing up on your smartphone, correct?
Right,
Yeah,
right. So the touchscreen experience is something that you don't have to get your smartphone out at all. The balance between tradition and technology is something we kept an eye on. But if you want to tap in more, you can grab your phone and share that exact flight because it was reported in the online dashboard, so we know exactly what's on it throughout all of social media channels.
Now, one of the cool things about this is not just limited necessarily to beer. You can do this for a number of other products at the same time.
I think, Michael, that's the core big idea. Craft beer is 100% focus, and it requires that because we can have success if it just lives in craft beer. However, imagine an electronic serving system that goes beyond and transcends into new markets. Cheese flights are pretty popular.
Yeah.
I first fell in love with the flight experience through wine, but you think about all the other things, tea and coffee and chocolate and all sorts of these things served through sample sizes that you just don't know which one is which. And people like knowing what they like. And as connoisseurs and more connected customers come into these establishments, there's just some really cool ways that this smart flight technology can interact for beer, but beyond that.
Right. And so, for example, you go to your favorite cheese shop and they're doing samples of whatever it happens to be. Right. And you've got a 4 flight. Mm-hmm. Okay, 4 choices. Now, can that be expanded? Can this be expanded to 8 or 12?
Yeah, great question, man. One of the things that we went to the Craft Brewers Conference in D.C. and released this to the world a couple of months ago. And hardware is super hard. After a whole career in software, I've learned so much, and it's very challenging, right? But it also costs a lot more than software. So we're running into some situations where it might make sense to pivot is way too strong of a word, but just kind of diverge into a software-only solution and actually give an app experience that could work for any serving device. So whether you have a wood one, a 6 one, a 10, or ours, you could use just your phone to actually experience smart flights just on your phone and instead of actually on the paddle.
So this is a first generation.
This is the era of now, right? We are excited about this. We're live. This is an announcement I can make. We're live at Exile. They were first. So they're serving smart flights downtown Des Moines. And then Fire Trucker came online and blew out our graphs. They're selling a lot of smart flights and doing a really good implementation of how this technology can ignite your customers, but also build new promotional opportunities.
One of the most important things I would imagine is that the staff at either one of these places, Exile or Fire Trucker, needs to be in tune with what this does so that they can explain it.
Fast, right? Speed equals money in this game. Right. We built this on basically 3 tiers: speed, durability, and customer connectivity, right? And speed is definitely what we have kept in mind. So right now, with the paddle era, you are programming it on the touchscreen. However, the big kind of holy grail of this is when we start connecting into POS systems. And so the bartender, the staff person goes up to the machine that they always go up to. Beer A, B, C, D, paddle 2, done, served.
Wow. And that would allow, not only that, but this could allow a brewer or a restaurant or whatever it happens to be to start to rank whatever their product is according to likability.
Along with customers becoming more educated, which there's loyalty value in and outside the tap room. When they go to Hy-Vee and see that line of beers at the grocery store.
What am I going to get?
Remember that? Oh, yeah. That Exile Beatnik Sour was crazy, and I want to find it in a bottle. So that interest level can be maintained, which is interesting, I think. But the way that they can use the online dashboard behind the scenes, this is big data for craft beer.
Sure.
They see what flights are served. They see what's most popular, and they can wrap their analytics around their future purchasing habits.
And a informed consumer is a better consumer because they'll come back time and time again.
Well, imagine knowing what you are enjoying and being able to order it because you know it. You're going to like it better.
So this would take the place. Ladies and gentlemen, if you think about this, now, if you're familiar with flights of beer, and that's tastings or wine or whatever it happens to be, oftentimes that flight comes to you. It might have a name on it. It might not have a name on it.
The current state of the art is paper or chalk. or nothing, actually, which is most common.
Paper, chalk, or nothing. Good luck. What is it that I'm drinking here, right? And then you have to
Absolutely.
scribble something down on a pad of paper.
Absolutely.
And this electrifies all of that. It makes the choice and the knowledge electronic. I think. How long did it take you to put this together?
The lonely roller coaster of entrepreneurship is how I'll start that response. Ethan and I originally came up with the idea way back when, actually at 515 Brewing here in Des
Really?
Moines. That's a little archival
There you go.
little snippet there. And so in the early days, it's finding who can at least validate some of our ideas. When Sinclair came online, he was really kind of the wizard that does the technology build. And so we were able to bring things to life. And that's a whole nother hour of reality, or, ideas to reality, right? But we've been working on this for over 2 years and even closer to 3 when you really dive down to like the genesis.
What's the most difficult part of this? I know you said that hardware can be expensive and all of it,
Sure.
but is it getting the proprietors to get it?
Hardware is hard and software is magic.
Yeah, right.
And when it is hardware, there's so much more to consider. I come from that software.
But there's a cost factor
The
here.
cost factor is real. We were thankful to connect with the state of Iowa and earned a $25,000 grant, which was nice.
Ooh-ha.
We won a couple pitch competitions and pulled in some more thousands, and it gave us a strong runway. However, with that small divergence of software potentially and some of the costs that are just real,
Right.
it may be an interesting moment to start considering more traditional funding. We were trying to fuel this through sales, but since, path A isn't maybe the proper path, path B requires more resources. And we're excited about the future, but there are still some changes ahead.
So an opportunity perhaps for angel investors to get in on this?
Very soon, very soon. I mean, I want to do this correctly.
Yeah, sure.
And so we would formally kind of announce that if it ever came to reality. But that is becoming the reality. And so absolutely, those folks who might be tuning in that are on that side, who find electronics and, technology interesting, or there's just some really interesting things happening with Flightbright and the future of flights.
Well, our good friend Mike Caldwell from Square One DSM.
Good friend, absolutely.
And Mike, oftentimes at Square One DSM and their angel investors, they're looking at software opportunities, and they've just brought to us a hardware thing just last week. A little Sidekick. It's a thing that keeps stuff from babies from throwing. By the way, you have a new child, so it keeps babies from dropping and throwing things on the ground. And they're now in 1,600 stores nationwide. But this has been in process out of Polk City for years.
Wow, that's awesome. They need to be on 1 Million Cups, first of all. I don't recognize them as like past presenters, so of course they need to be sharing their story.
Amy Voss.
Okay, nice.
I will hook you up.
Well, and Square One has been actually involved with what we're trying to do as we look at financial modeling and making sure we come out doing this like important process correctly. Mike's been a great resource, as has the city of Des Moines. As the community fuels itself, there's so many folks who can act as mentors or connectors or everything in between. And so I don't think that something like Flightbright could even be naturally built without the support system of a city like Des Moines.
Yeah, it really does matter, doesn't it? Good for you. His name is Ben McDougall, ladies and gentlemen. It is called Flightbright. We will have images of all of this and also a link to find out more about Flightbright on the radio blog. Thanks for doing this, Ben. Great to see you again,
as always, man. AM Radiostar. This is fun.
Isn't this fun?
I love it. I love it in here.
Who would have thought, man? This is our 5th year.
Well, and that doesn't even count all your webcasts.
Life will have opportunity to explore infinite lift
live video before it was like easy.
Doing the buttons yourself? Now we have a producer. This is pretty cool.
It's always great to be here. Thanks, Mike.
Ben McDougall, ladies and gentlemen. The product is called Flightbright. I do love the logo as well. We will have looks at all of this on the radio blog.